Welcome to the Dubrovnik for the first part of very interesting 2 days in this beautiful town with $1 million views. Welcome to the first panel of the day, because we have a lot of work to do. We start almost sharp. That means that you're already halfway Croatians because you're a little bit late. That's a tradition, easy going, especially in this part of Croatia. Lovely to see all the smiling faces. We have everything for this conference to succeed. A lot of breaks, lunch breaks, dinners, parties, and that's about something which we can start on. But the first thing we need to start to talk about is the future, which is always here and already here, especially when we talk about artificial intelligence. I'm the analog guy, I'll be your moderator, but we have some interesting digital stuff to offer to you, especially with the first subject or the theme of the day: how artificial intelligence can strengthen the European competitiveness. That means that it's a hard question, and we have few brave people to answer those questions in about an hour. I hope that you're ready to clap your hands so we can introduce them all. Please welcome Ivan Crnčec, State Secretary, Ministry of Justice, Public Administration, Digital Transformation, Croatia. That's a lot of things to have on your business card. Welcome. You can sit over there with your name. Please welcome. I greet Hendrik Bourgeois, Head of European Government Affairs, Mastercard Europe. Welcome. From Belgium, as I suppose, right? So you speak all the languages you need. French, German, everything. Not Croatian. You will be fluent in Croatian till this evening, I promise you, with AI help as well. I greet Stjepan Droglic, Vice President of the Supervisory Board, Orbico Group. Welcome. It's nice to have you. I call the lovely lady, Cezara Pane, AI Policy Lead, CAE, Government Affairs, Public Policy, Google. Bună dimineața. I heard that you're from Romania. Nice to have you in this panel as well. And we have Mihail Mudric, Associate Professor, Faculty of Law, University of Zagreb, joining us. Welcome, Professor. The seat is yours. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the only man who can ask all the questions about AI this morning, the New Frontier Foundation President, Mr. Natko Vlahovic. Natko, join us. The floor is yours. Enjoy the first one. And I've heard that we have something interesting to offer as well. Enjoy.
Thank you very much for this lovely, really lovely introduction. It's a beautiful day to be here in Dubrovnik this morning. I really feel fortunate to have such a distinguished panel here this morning for you. Dubrovnik Forum represents really a most strategic conference on behalf of Croatian government, so really appreciate to be here and to have the opportunity to work together with Dubrovnik Forum. As we see, we have about 45-50 minutes to talk about something that's so strategic, so important, so much future is lying in AI technology. So we created this panel, which consists of people from the government, private sector, corporations, major players, and also academia and research expertise. So on my behalf, really welcome, and I'm looking forward to speaking with you. We have some technical issues, but I hope everything will work out fine. AI, okay. So to really be AI, we use this time AI tool. Actually, we used Google AI tool to create introductions of ladies and gentlemen that are here sitting next to me. So I would kindly ask our technical wizards over there to introduce and use our AI tool to introduce the panel and the speakers. Please.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. She is AI policy lead for the Central and Eastern European region. Google is among the global leaders in AI development, spearheading advancements through extensive research and significant investments in infrastructure. By integrating cutting-edge AI technologies like Gemini and Veo into its core products, Google drives both foundational breakthroughs and practical applications, enhancing productivity and empowering users worldwide. Next up, we have Ivan Kernchek, State Secretary in the Ministry of Justice, Public Administration, and Digital Transformation. With the formation of this ministry last year, digital transformation was incorporated at the government level for the first time, signifying its importance as one of the government's 4 key priorities. As the national competent authority, the ministry recently launched work on 2 crucial legislative acts related to AI, the implementation of the AI Act into domestic legislation, and the country's first national AI strategy. Our third panelist is Stjepan Rajic. Stjepan is a seasoned entrepreneur, currently serving at Orbico Group as the vice president of the supervisory board. Orbico is Croatian-based distribution and logistics company established by the Roglic family. Over the years, it became one of Europe's leading distributors of consumer goods, expanding its operations across 20 European countries, with the most significant presence in the CEE region. With a workforce of approximately 8,000 employees, Orbico manages a diverse portfolio of over 500 global and local brands. Our fourth panelist is Professor Mikhail Miso Mudrik. His expertise spans various areas of law, with notable focus on the intersection of technology and law. This area often intersects with the legal aspects of raw material extraction, supply, and trade. He actively lectures and practices in the field of AI law, with focus in intellectual property rights and privacy. Furthermore, his insights into the current knowledge, needs, and concerns of public sector employees regarding AI adoption are invaluable, since he teaches at the State School of Public Administration. His perspectives on how Croatia can best leverage AI will greatly enrich our conversation. We are especially honored to have here with us Mr. Hendrik Bourgeois. He is a true heavyweight in government affairs and public policy, with more than 2 decades of experience in leading roles with industry and tech leaders, such as GE, Cargill, Apple, and Intel. He has recently joined MasterCard as the head of government affairs and policy for Europe, and chose this event for one of his first appearances in the new role. He has been active in Brussels business associations, notably serving as the president of the American Chamber of Commerce to the EU and a board member of Digital Europe. Through these roles, and as a member of the European Policy Center's Strategic Council, he has frequently engaged in high-level discussions on European technology and competition policy. His career reflects a strong transatlantic perspective, with expertise in combining policy and business between the US and Europe. Before we dive into the discussion, let me feature a special guest who will join the final segment of our discussion to present his association. Here with us we have Tomasz Snezik, CEO of the AI Chamber. As a newly established entity, his organization advocates for responsible innovation and crucial policy collaboration across the CEE region. Now that you've met our panelists, get ready for an insightful and engaging discussion. Stay tuned for our next segment, where the real conversation begins.
What do you think? Not bad, huh? It's quite easy, huh, with AI. I think this was quite interesting, and we really wanted to showcase what we are going to talk about and what the future is bringing to everybody, whether we are in business or in academia or in government practice. So we'll start with Cezara. And Cezara, welcome to Dubrovnik. And the first question related to Google really would be, how can AI help address Europe's productivity, focusing on economic growth, particularly in Central Eastern Europe region? Please.
Yes, thank you very much, Natko, for the introduction. Good morning, everyone. It's such a pleasure to be here in Dubrovnik and start the day with a very important conversation about artificial intelligence that I think is a very important topic in nowadays debate about how we want to have Europe a very competitive place where we'd like to deploy technology, to be able to kickstart innovation. So I think this is something that we'd like to address, and also starting with Croatia. Croatia, understanding the potential of the country for adopting generative AI. So I wanted to showcase very briefly with you a report that we at Google had commissioned for an independent consultancy to deliver and to research. So this is actually that you will see further on the stage, on the screen, is the report basically addressing the opportunity that Croatia has if it adopts generative AI into its administration, core practices, business, and administration. So I would present just a few of the important data points that I think would be relevant for you to remember and understand. So if Croatia is building and achieving this potential, it can increase the global the GDP with 5%. So that means 3 to 4 billion euros added to Croatia's economy if it captures this right opportunity. And later on, I will mention exactly what we need to do as a society to capture this economic opportunity. What is important is to understand that it will have a cross-sectorial impact across our economies, societies, how we do digital upskilling in the administration, how we work with citizens so that they will not be left behind by the adoption of technology, but actually improving their work with it. So the report also shows that besides this economic opportunity that will create an increase in the capacity of the economy, it will also have a direct impact in how people will be working. And actually you can see that 1 million citizens from Croatia only will be augmented by AI. So their job will not be replaced or affected, but in fact, majority of them would be helped in their daily work by artificial intelligence. And I think that says a lot about how we would like to strengthen Europe's competitiveness and make sure that our processes are much more streamlined, that efficiency in the sectors is increased, that we are able to deliver our daily job tasks even faster and more efficient, and that leads to increasing productivity in Europe. And we know for sure that compared to other places in the world like US or China or other economies, Europe is sometimes lagging behind, and we need to address it. And we have this role of trying to promote what is important in Europe to remain competitive and to be able to be true to our values and mission of promoting trustworthy AI and ethical values. And I think that's something that we can do together. And the economy is a very powerful engine for driving this change. Boosting R&D in Europe is going to be very important. Capturing this opportunity will highly benefit the society. And I'm happy to develop even further later on, but I just wanted to leave you with some parting thoughts, and you can find the study online to see exactly what is the opportunity. We have it for the whole CE region, and I think our region needs to be much more active in pursuing this opportunity, actively participating in the discussions that are now up to date in the AI regulation, and the whole discussion about how we'd like to have this framework being settled, because it will directly impact how the opportunity will be then developed. This is for me in the introduction. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for these interesting points that you raised, Cezara. Let's move from private sector to really a government, and let's move to Croatian government. And here with us we have State Secretary Ivan Crnčić on behalf of the ministry. Croatia recently actually got the ministry who is in charge not only of justice and state administration, but also digital transformation. So, and the ministry is preparing a very important act, a very important strategy. It's called National AI Development Plan for a period of until 2032, along with an action plan. So, Mr. Crnčić, can you explain really what's driving this important activity in the ministry, and what are the current plans, and how is actually Croatian government developing and looking into these important opportunities for our country?
Yes, sure. Thank you. Thank you, Natko. Thank you for the question, for the invitation. also, in fact, for accepting me as a substitute, because minister was originally planned, which is, I believe, would be better, not just obviously because he's a minister, but also because of his knowledge of this topic. But I guess I hope I will be up to the task. Yes, indeed, we are working on these two strategic documents that you mentioned. So one is the National AI Development Plan. We just started at the end of May working on this, let's say, broader strategic document, which is providing the overall vision of where we want to go until 2032, but also it will be supported by the accompanying action plan, which will, of course, then in more detail just detailize the concrete measures from this strategy for the next 3 years period, so from 26 till 28. And we have a pretty large, I would say, expert working group consisting of around 45 members, which is, I would say, very inclusive. So we are covering all the relevant segments of the government sector, but also AI research centers, also the representative from the business and startup community, academia. So we have universities from 5 cities, in fact, both private and, of course, state universities. In Croatia, we have NGO sector, so a lot of people working on these two strategic documents. We have, I would say, the broad vision. We have the most important strategic pillars. So let's say the key priorities of this national development plan are first, trustworthy AI and alignment with the AI Act. So we are, I think, here, like I would say, a number of EU member states facing some challenges with the alignment with the AI Act, but we definitely want to do it right. We don't want to do it just as some kind of compliance exercise. We really want to fully align with the AI Act and simply to build trust in technology, in our institutions, in the market. The second pillar, the second key priority is investment in innovation, research, and infrastructure. So again, here we will develop some concrete measures to increase national support to AI research, also participation in European data spaces, and also to increase our use of data centers and high-performance computing infrastructure. The third important key priority is skills and talents development. So here, again, we would like to have our AI talents flow through all the levels of education. From the primary schools, where we are already starting from this fall, so from next school year 25-26, we will have AI in the school curricula. And also we want to, of course, have it in university labs and also for the lifelong education, basically, of both our civil servants, of our public servants, and also our workers at the job market. Then I would say the fourth important pillar, the fourth priority, would be responsible AI deployment in economy and society. Again, we would like to boost up AI use by SMEs, by startups, but also by some important strategic sectors like agriculture, like tourism, like health, for example. And finally, the last key priority is AI in public administration, something that Cesara was already mentioning. I think we want to show not only that we are regulating AI, that we are also using it. So definitely we think there is a huge potential to use AI in public administration. We are already using, I think, somebody told me 793 different ICT solutions in public administration. Some of them are also, of course, AI-based, but we know that we can, of course, increase the digital literacy of our public servants. We are right now with our State School of Public Administration conducting one assessment. We are having a questionnaire also to simply assess the readiness of our state bodies to apply AI. So I think we are having the vision, we are having the direction, and we will, we do believe by the end of this year.
End of this year.
Yes, conclude both of these documents.
Excellent, really exciting. You mentioned skills, public servants, and here with us we have Professor Mudrić, who is working with State School of Public Administration. So can you tell us a little bit what's the status and what's the level of knowledge and understanding of really of AI technologies? I recently was in Slovenia at one conference, and one of the ministers in Slovenia told me that they have a problem because people at the ministry are actually uploading very important documents into some AI tools, which is again something that they shouldn't do. Do we have such problems here in Croatia?
Absolutely, yes. That's one of the key points that are very problematic in practice. I think the pillar 3 that was just mentioned is perhaps at this point crucial. And the questionnaire that you mentioned, I've been conducting this questionnaire with the state administration. I've done educational programs with other institutions as well, Diplomatic Academy as well, Croatian Bureau of Insurance, et cetera, et cetera. And I get the similar response from all the participants. What is it? What is AI? Are we already using this without realizing that we're using this? Are we allowed to use this? Are there any specific tools that we are supposed to use? Nobody in our institution is telling us anything. We don't have any codes of practice, any guidelines, recommendations. They come to the program of education called AI Literacy, and they want to learn, are they allowed to use this? Should they register with their private name, private email or official email? Are they allowed to submit any information, not just any kind of document, but sensitive information as well? What happens with this data? Is it preserved by the provider of the service? Is it placed somewhere in a server outside of Croatia, outside of Europe? And what happens with this data? So there's plenty of different questions that are open. Majority of the people who participate in these literacy programs are telling me and are pointing in this questionnaire that they hadn't had any literacy educational programs whatsoever, with the small exception of the people in the IT sector connected to cybersecurity. So I think it is important to establish this educational service not just on the state level but also on the institutional level as well, both in the public sector and private sector as well. People seek knowledge and instructions. They use these systems without perhaps realizing that they use this, and they're not aware of the consequences, be this positive or a negative consequence. So having this starting off from kindergarten, as was mentioned before, all the way up to wherever it is that you work is crucial. In Singapore, they started introducing little robots to children in kindergartens. Is there saying this is what their life will look like, this is what their future will be, and we have to prepare them for this? And they established mandatory educational program for all the skilled workforce, regardless of whether they work in the public sector or private, because they feel that without utilization of AI-enabled systems and tools, it will be impossible to compete, and it will be impossible to keep up with what we're facing today. We're facing another wave of industrial evolution, I would argue, and without the implementation, realization what these tools actually are, how they can improve the things they do, but how careful we have to be, it's impossible to keep up. One final thought, one of the things that I stress in these programs, whether this is state school or a different entity, is if you use any kind of tools, whatever they are, it's your own responsibility. You have to assume responsibility for the output that comes out of these tools, meaning that if you're not an expert in the field, you will not be able to recognize whether the output coming from, is it Gemini, is it ChatGPT, or whatever, whether this is correct or not. And in order to have this, we need to simply educate people. I think this is enough for the introduction.
Excellent, very interesting. Thank you. Hendrik, AI tool introduced you as a heavyweight, and we are really happy that you're here with us as a true European government affairs heavyweight with lots of experience. You come from MasterCard. MasterCard is a tech company, actually. What's your perspective as a company, as a MasterCard for European competitiveness, really? And how do you see Europeans or European companies competing in this area of AI applications?
Yeah, thank you for the question. It's a privilege and a pleasure to be here. I'm going to try to do a human-centric intervention and not one based on ChatGPT. Otherwise, next year, I'll be replaced by an AI bot. So, it will all be, my presentation will be done by artificial intelligence. Look, I think, as was said before, absorbing AI in the European economy, particularly for SMEs, I think is of critical importance. It's crucial. It's not only a question of improving efficiency, productivity. It's really necessary to allow our stakeholders in Europe, our economic actors in Europe, not to fall out of the race, the global competitiveness race. Productivity in Europe used to be very high. 25 years ago, 20 years ago, we were leading economic productivity, industrial productivity. This is no longer the case for a variety of reasons. And one way to address that competitiveness gap and productivity gap that in Europe is embracing new technologies such as AI. And so, it's a must-do. I'm glad that governments are focusing on it. I was listening to the State Secretary's intervention. I think he has the right recipe with all the right ingredients. The question will be, how are we going to prepare everything and execute that plan, which will require allocating scarce resources, focus, political decision-making. In Europe, this is always very complicated because you have to find, compromises. But it's absolutely crucial. For MasterCard, we run and manage a global payments network. It's obvious that we facilitate daily activities of billions of users on a daily basis, from shopping to traveling to running a business, managing finances. And so being and utilizing the cutting edge of technology, including AI, is necessary to remain competitive. But for us, it's probably even more because our system, our payment system, needs to rely on trust. If we don't have trust in the system, all of the stakeholders that we pull into our network, whether it's issuing banks, merchants, acquiring banks, and consumers, if they don't have trust in the system, then we don't have a license to operate, basically. And so it's crucial in that respect. And just to give you an example, we process about 169 billion transactions globally on a yearly basis. That means roughly more than 330 million transactions on a daily basis. And we're continuously looking at opportunities to protect and secure those transactions against fraud, against theft. It's a bit like water that continuously circulates around rocks or around bricks, and you have to protect the bricks against infiltration from water. And we use AI tools to do that, right? And so, for instance, we use very machine learning algorithms to analyze huge data sets to predict whether a particular transaction that is about to be finalized is or not subject to fraud, is genuine. And so we provide a label to our banks with whom we partner and say, look, this particular transaction has some elements that suggest that it could be fraudulent, and then based on that label, it's up to the bank to decide whether or not, based on its risk appetite, to proceed with the transaction or not. But it's crucial, it's essential, as identity theft increases with the use of AI, for instance. We need to be on the top of this as well. And again, if we don't do it, we really have a fundamental issue, and so it's of critical importance, not only for Europe's competitiveness and SMEs, but also for a global player like MasterCard.
You mentioned trust, yes. And today trust is really precious commodity. How do you see MasterCard really can continue being a trustworthy company?
Look, we engage as much as possible in public-private partnerships. We engage with SMEs. For instance, we created in Belgium a European Cyber Resilience Center. Mm-hmm. It's a center that brings together MasterCard, but also our customers, our partners in the financial services sector, governments, mm-hmm. and agencies like Europol, where we work together on solutions to address not only fraud but also cybersecurity risk. Mm-hmm. And so engaging with a lot of stakeholders to finding concrete solutions to real problems that society is facing, I think is a way to increase trust and create that trust. I think it's working quite well. We're also doing quite a bit of engagement with SMEs. We created which are the engine of economic activity in Europe, and in smaller countries like my country, Belgium and Croatia, where the SMEs are really the driving force of the economy. So we do a lot of work with SMEs to enable them to adopt AI technology, to digitize. We have funds available when grants based on eligibility criteria. We create, AI, small business AI chatbots in the United States, for instance. So it's really about not only ensuring that your system works well, is safe, secure, and fast, but it's also making sure that you contribute to addressing the issues that your stakeholders have, and being part of their solution as well, beyond what your bottom line interest is.
Excellent. Thank you. Let's move to now we had the opportunity to listen to some major global corporations like MasterCard and Google, and here today with us we have Mr. Stjepan Roglic from major Croatian company in large distribution company, Orbico. And Stjepan, you were in United States recently with the American Chamber of Commerce delegation, and you visited some major companies like NVIDIA and others. Can you give us a little bit of your perspective returning from United States, and how is AI important in your business, and let's say the realistic creation perspective of application of AI in your company, and especially how Croatia as a country should move forward?
It was a great pleasure and privilege to be part of American Chamber of Commerce delegation to Silicon Valley. This year we were visiting Google and NVIDIA, two global technology leaders. So it was for us a great opportunity to see that Croatia, or Europe, if you want, has its position. We have a lot of engineers which are now part of Google or Silicon Valley companies' headquarters, a lot of local Croatian and European people who are in the middle of this innovation process. And it was great to see that we have future in front of us through technology, through artificial intelligence, robotics, and telecommunications. We have a lot of innovations to implement locally here in Europe, in Southeast Europe or Croatia, if you want, and as a business community, together with Croatian part of American Chamber of Commerce, Croatian business community. We also here in this forum, we also have local IT companies which are already, let's say, on the edge of this new process. To see that we have a lot of things to do, to participate. For us, as element of Croatian business community, it's important to see that not only chambers, but also voluntary diplomacy as Croatian corps of consuls, where I'm also participating. A Croatian community of ambassadors here is very active to position Croatia and Southeast Europe through Rakvijak, also Europe as, if you stay globally, also one of the key elements in global geopolitical scene. It's important to see that we are all part of it, and we would like to, as a business community, or if you want, as a local company, to implement global solutions and technological innovations in our business processes. It's not easy I know that there are a lot of changes. Overnight, you see some new technology coming from Southeast Asia. Tomorrow, you see technology from the United States, then from Europe as well. Because in Europe, there are also some good, let's say, startups which are ready for a new technological era. So we, as a small country, if you want, and as a business community here in Southeast Europe, we can do a lot to be part of this new technological process.
Are you saying that small countries especially should embrace technology and digitalization?
Yeah.
When we spoke the other day before this conference here in Dubrovnik, you mentioned that you noticed that all of these big companies that are developing AI solutions, that actually it's very important for them to work with governments. Can you explain this observation and why do you mention that? And how governments are really important because they regulate the environment.
Yes.
The innovation comes from private sector. Governments are not really the innovators in
Yes.
that respect. They're not innovating. They're not bringing new technology. The private sector is bringing new technology to the table.
Yes.
So can you explain this observation a little bit to the audience today?
What private sector is innovating, government is regulating. So we need to be. We are in the same boat, and we are glad that we are part as a commerce, as a chamber of commerce, as a consular corps. That we are in communication with governments, and I'm glad that here we have government representative, and we are in close contact with them, and we want to be as much as possible free to innovate, but of course we must be also. Let's say, we must be also subject to regulations. And I'm sure that Europe, as the oldest, globally oldest community, maybe has most advanced regulations, which does not mean that these regulations is highest possible adapted to new innovation process, especially in AI. Because Europe is the only global community, European Union, which has AI Act. In the United States, there is more freedom for startups to implement, to innovate AI or robotics or other technology advantages into their business processes and into their products. In Europe, we have more. Let's say to wait until European Commission is, let's say, giving us more freedom. But I hope that since European Commission has recognized that they should be more, let's say, prone to European innovation community, and they are actually deregulating 70% of their total, let's say, scope. And I hope that as a business here in Europe, that we are ready to use this new environment.
Thank you. Cesara, you're dealing with regulations. From your experience and your daily work, what are the primary regulatory challenges facing AI deployment in Europe? And what are the main recommendations, if I may say, for the governments to understand that?
Yes, thank you for the question. I think this is a very important discussion to have and timely right now. As you know, the AI Act is now already adopted. It will be soon implemented, but I think what is important is that it adds to over 100 pieces of regulation that have been developed at the European Union level in the 5 years in the topic of digital transformation, and it also touches upon cross-sectorial legislation, so on data protection, consumer protection, on copyright, so it has a very broad impact into our daily lives about how this is going to be implemented. And we believe that Europe could be highly affected if we don't catch up on the innovatory wave, and if regulation will be preventing companies to innovate. And the regulatory burden will be hardly felt, especially on the SMEs, on the unicorns, on those who want to grow fast and to have the capacity to innovate here in Europe. Those would be first to be affected, not necessarily the larger companies that have the resources and capabilities to comply with the regulation. So I think it is very important to understand the scope that we want to achieve with this piece of regulation. Of course, just now we have, yesterday we had recently published the Code of Practice, the GPI code that is basically adding to this regulation, the AI Act, and it's not particularly supportive of innovation as it is framed right now. We believe it's very important to offer a grace period or more time for companies to be able to pursue the necessary adjustments internally so that they will be able to comply with the necessary measures that are now being adopted. So delaying the implementation of the AI Act has been thoroughly discussed recently. We believe this is a very important issue to address, just to make sure that the companies in Europe are able to implement these very thorough changes and in a meaningful way. And more than that, we believe that offering more flexible regulatory framework and future-proof is very important, making sure that governments and companies can work together in designing what we'd like for Europe to be an innovative space where we'd like to have more companies coming here, being based. And you know, at times we had the challenges that not all the data, the product features were able to develop in Europe, just because we were highly regulated and we decided not to pursue some opportunities in Europe. So we'd like to understand exactly what is the stance in the region, how we can work together, how we can build more trust and also innovative policies across the governments. We really believe this is a voice that should be heard at the European Union level, and together with those who are representing the states, we should understand exactly what are the goals that we want to pursue together. But we think this is a very timely moment to discuss and to have action from the governments on this front to foster innovation in Europe and in CE.
We hear word trust a lot these days. It's very important, you know, to create dialogue. And I want to ask you, Mr. Trnčec, in terms of partnerships that you as government, as ministry are doing, can you elaborate a little bit on AI models for justice and your practices, recent practices in that area as well?
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, definitely. I want to just shortly follow up to the question you addressed before to Mr. Roglic about the collaboration. I also do believe that we have a good collaboration with the business community, and that it will be even increased in the future. So I told you what is the structure of our working group, which includes also the participation of the members of business and startup community. Also, according to the AI Act, we will be obliged also to develop AI regulatory sandboxes, which is something that we are really eager to do. So I think this will also show good cooperation, because we will develop the safe environment to basically develop and test innovative AI solutions. Regarding the justice part, because this is primarily my portfolio, I must tell you, five years ago we were just Ministry of Justice when public administration was added to our portfolio. I must admit I was not the biggest fan of that. Even last year when the digital transformation was added, which was said also in the presentations by the AI, I was thinking this will be really a lot. We are really becoming a huge ministry. But now after 1 year of experience, I can tell you that I think it was a good idea, and I think that we really, I mean, when I say we, I think primarily about the justice system, we benefited a lot from the digital transformation. So it really boosted up some of the processes. So yes, we do have some good AI models already in already existing, and we have some in the pipeline. We have now for some time AI chatbots, for example, for land registry, and we have, and I think this is a good example of what this digital transformation added to our portfolio. One AI-based system of anonymization and publication of judicial decisions. Because beforehand we had one system of publishing judicial decisions on at the website of the Supreme Court. It was including only judgments from the Supreme Court and some, let's say, more important judgments from the higher courts. And in, I would say, maybe a little bit less than 2 decades, we entered about 300,000 judgments in the system. Now with this new AI system called Anon, just in these first 6 months, so half of this year, we have entered 300,000 more. So we're transferring this 300,000 from before. We had around 600,000 fully anonymized and published decisions from all instances, from all courts, and I think it's a huge step forward. What we are doing also right now, we are equipping our around 1,500 courtrooms with the equipment for audio recording of the main hearings. This will be a major shift for Croatian judiciary. We will, you know, these days our proceedings look like, you know, if you are a witness or any party or a court expert or whoever, a defendant, you give a statement and then the judge is paraphrasing it, summarizing and dictating it to the typist, where we are of course using a lot of time, not to mention the accuracy and transparency of the whole process, with this new audio recording, which also has this AI-based model of so-called speech-to-text, so auto transcripts of the main hearings. We will speed up the proceedings. We will significantly contribute to the overall accuracy. Another thing which is in the pipeline is one project proposal that we are drafting right now on predictive justice. This is, I would say, a very hot topic, a very delicate topic also, but we are going in 2 directions. One is to support our judges in drafting their judgments by, for example, using AI to summarize the jurisprudence or to generate some kind of templates for them more easily to draft their judgments in, let's say, some standardized type of cases, like the small value cases, like misdemeanor cases. But we also want to go in one other direction, to have some AI-based systems for the citizens, so that they can enter some crucial relevant parameters in the system, and by using real data, which we already have now in our integrated case management system, they can get a more clear picture what to expect maybe from their proceedings. Also, this will be also, of course, used for the prediction of court fees and also for the estimation of the overall litigation costs. And I will finish with this, because I think this is a little bit exclusive for this panel. We are right now amending our criminal code, our penal code. We are doing it primarily in order to become I see here the Minister of Foreign and European Affairs, to become the member of the OECD. We are in the midst, or I believe somewhere towards the end of this process, to acceding to OECD. But within this, fulfilling some OECD recommendations, we are also introducing one new criminal offense, which will be covering basically the criminal liability of the AI, of the artificial intelligence. So not a lot of people still know that. It will be soon in public consultations. Professor Mudrić knows it because we invited him to join our working group because of his, of course, great knowledge on this topic. But this is something that there is not so many examples in the world even. We have the compensation damage, so civil lawsuits in the States. We have, France has something like that. We are, to be honest, primarily introducing it because of automated vehicles, so the famous robotaxis. But we are making it broader. So it will be, you know, the commission or omission within the development, testing, verification, use and management of AI system, and we will of course have the basic form and then some qualified forms. So the basic form will be endangerment for life and property, and then some qualified forms of the criminal offense if there has been a more serious consequence. For example, if there was a serious bodily harm, or if there was a large-scale property damage, or if there was a death of one or more persons. So I think here we will be some kind of pioneers in this regard, and we hope it will be soon in public consultations, and I do hope for the good feedback also to maybe even improve this new criminal offense.
When I listen to you and I hear this, I think your role is like a spokesperson, the ministry, the spokesperson of AI in Croatian government. You should talk to other ministries also to embrace AI as you are trying to embrace. And congratulations on that.
We have it in our portfolio, so we have to promote it. I think that's one of our roles.
Absolutely. This is one of your major tasks. I have this here, the question about safeguarding public interests. And Professor Mudrić, what would be your recommendation and your views and ideas for Croatian government and other governments really to safeguard public interests when they are developing new acts like Croatia is doing right now? What are the major important ingredients in that respect?
The major question there is the issue of, obviously, privacy. We all have smart devices, phones, smart watches. We have companies collecting data on us from our cars, from our homes, from the cameras, and it affects our lives in ways that it's difficult to understand, to the extent if you're not really reading a lot about it. There's people trying to get mortgages and then they're being told that they've been flagged red because the credit agency scored them as not eligible to be able to pay out mortgage. Why? Because once they've been in a hotel where there was a casino and they purchased something or paid for drinks, and it automatically, the card payment automatically connected this with the existence of casino, and this being one of the criteria of people eligibly being able to spend out the money, not being able to repay the mortgage. So there's things to consider. You take a photo of anyone here with your camera, and if you have enough money to pay, you'll be able to get information on who this person is, where do they work, what's their financial situation, who is in their vicinity as family members, what it is that they do, where do they go to school, et cetera, et cetera. If you are a government official or a company employee and you upload a sensitive document to any of the bots that you use, this information will be collected by the company to do machine learning retraining of the data, which is a gold mine. All of us that use these tools, we are actually a gold mine for the companies to retrain their bots and make them better and better all the time. So the question is, what happens with this data? Can it go out? Can somebody else accidentally, even by a virtue of a prompt, access any of this sensitive data? What is the policy of sharing? What is the policy of privacy preservation? How is this implemented? So the biggest question is, can the state trust a private company to be able to come to an arrangement where privacy is protected to a sufficient effect that we as a state can say that we are securing our position? Now, some governments in the world seem to be very skeptical about this. French government, for example, refuses to allow the use of privately run bots or AI tools, Gen AI tools. They use a tool that they've come up with on their own, but it's far less effective than what we're seeing in the market today. Some other entities like the British government, in terms of the MI6, they moved all of their data to Amazon Web Services, not because of the cloud, but because of the algorithm capacity to analyze data. So obviously this can be done, and there are methods to do this, but it has to be done by means of cooperation with from one side of the state and the other side of the private sector, realizing, and there's a lot of thrust to be placed on the private sector in terms of recognizing what truly public interest or national security is, and what kind of a service needs to be provided to enable this service. I know we have little time, so I'll just finish with this. I do believe that it's very important for the European institutions and competent bodies to push forward the agenda of establishing this very strong framework of responsibility, both on the state side and the private side, to be able to connect to a sufficient level of security, both for the public interest, but also business interest as well. I'll finish with this.
Thank you, very interesting. We have about 7-8 minutes to go, so we'll kind of move with questions a little bit faster. Hendrik, MasterCard is also leveraging AI to empower SMEs. You have so many customers. We talked about trustworthiness. What are other policies and initiatives that MasterCard has for Europe?
Well, generally speaking, we look at a lot of areas that, where we can contribute to the policy debate, where we can provide thought leadership. One thing that I would like to pick up on, for instance, this discussion that we're having about, how to regulate in the public interest, how to regulate to prevent risks from the use of AI to society, to vulnerable groups in our society, I think is a very important discussion. But I think that Europe is a heavyweight in dealing with that issue. Right? Europe, let's be clear. If the AI Act was adopted, the principal purpose was not to, make sure that SMEs use AI, that AI is incorporated in our business models. No, the purpose was clearly to prevent risk to European citizens, and rightly so, right? Because there are risks. And so I think it's very important that we have regulations in place that promote responsible AI, that incorporates principles of privacy, security, transparency, inclusion, all these things, incredibly important. But as we are Europeans, we think about these things first. We think about risks, and then later we think about opportunities. And so I think, because of the precautionary principle and what have you not. And so I think we're now in a situation where European legislators, regulators, government officials are kind of waking up and saying, well, wait a minute, haven't we focused too much on addressing, identifying, and regulating the risk, which needs to be happening, don't get me wrong. But on the other hand, are we not missing out on opportunities? And should we not be regulating more, not to create obstacles, but to remove obstacles? And so that's a debate where I think a company like MasterCard can contribute a lot. There's a lot that can, and as I said, I think the Croatian government has the right recipes to try to do this. And the European Union is looking at this as well, a little bit after the fact, with the adoption of the AI Continent Plan, which is a large program that is geared towards, allocating funds to create gigafactories for AI-enabled data centers and things like that. But it remains to be seen whether we'll be able to kind of also embrace regulation removing obstacles that permits innovation. And I think that's the real challenge, because we're really good at identifying the risk and regulating the risk as compared to other regions in the world.
I just want to ask you a quick question on this transatlantic relations and transatlantic trade and tariffs negotiations. Is this impacting your business as well, MasterCard? Because we're looking at the outcomes that are going to be seen quite soon. So,
in general, obviously, the world. We run a global network.
Yes.
We're like many other multinational corporates. We grew in a globalized world, and we benefit from globalization because that gives us scales, it gives us opportunities, it allows us to apply business models in a ubiquitous way. And the world is fragmenting. The world is fragmenting. We see, greater economic protectionism, barriers to trade, barriers to investments, and that's not a good thing. That's not a good thing. And I think, I think we should be promoting greater cooperation amongst nations that believe that there is that economic prosperity and public interest is served by economic partnership between nations. And so, that's something that I think we should be promoting as global companies, and governments that believe in that approach for society should be continuing to promoting internationalism, cooperation, multilateralism. I think is increasingly under threat, obviously, but this is something that we need to work on. And these are difficult times. These are really difficult times with a lot of uncertainty, and that's hard for businesses, right? Because, for instance, in the trade world, I think businesses can deal with the imposition of tariffs. We know how to adapt. We're flexible if tariffs comes, whether you work for MasterCard or another company. What is much more difficult is when there's uncertainty around the tariff, whether sometimes it will be adopted, maybe it's not going to be adopted, maybe it's going to be adopted later. That prevents a business operator to, to plan, and that destroys value. So it's a real challenge.
Thank you. Stjepan, as a major Croatian, not just Croatian, but also regional company, what are your views on this, transatlantic and global situation in business, and what do you as a company expect from Brussels, from European Commission, when you look at your future business plans and development? And we also talked about Ukraine. How do you see the situation in Ukraine affecting, the war in Ukraine, affecting your future business plans?
Yes. As I mentioned before, my company is a regional player in logistics and services to multinational companies. We are also present in Ukraine. And we also, not as Ukrainians, but
yes,
as Europeans, we just want this war to stop. My company is ready. My company already invested a lot in Ukraine, and we expect from Europe, from the States, and from transatlantic community in total, to as soon as possible regulate all the activities for us to grow the business in a secure environment, in regulations, in the defense policy, and in business environment in total. My company is ready. My company is in partnership with global players, mainly American, United States companies, and we would like this market, especially in Ukraine and East Europe, which is not yet part of European Union or NATO, to as soon as possible become matured market with the infrastructure of government institutions, of chambers of commerce, of local business and government infrastructure, so that we can run the business as usual.
Okay.
I hope that it will be as soon as possible.
Yes, of course. Thank you. Thank you very much, Stjepan. So we have about less than 1 minute to go. Cesare, I just want to ask you for some final thoughts and recommendations from your position, and then we go to our friend Tamas to introduce quickly AI Chamber. Please.
So not many parting thoughts before, besides what has been already said. I think it's very important to act now. It's a timely moment. We really appreciate partnership from cross-industry, government, civil society alike, because we think AI regulation is something that will really impact the future of the decades that will follow and how we all will be developing technology and using it. Everyone is already using AI in our daily lives, so I think it's very important to take an active role on that front. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Tamas Snažnik is our call.
How much time do I have?
You have 1 minute, because you're Superman.
60 seconds. So
he will tell us, about new chamber. It's called
yes.
AI Chamber, and,
yes.
Tamas comes from Poland.
Yes, I come from Poland. However, my last name is Croatian, as we talked yesterday. Yes, AI Chamber. We are registered in Poland. We have only and solely SMEs as members. So only either you're a SME or a startup-driven unicorn, as 11 Labs or ISAI are our members. Our aim is to have members in all the CE countries. We have right now we have members in Poland and in Czech Republic. And recently we launched two documents. One is the AI Action Plan, which you can see on the website aiactionplan.eu, and you can download it for free. And as Cesare said, and I would like to also compliment what all of you said, that the time is to act is now. And it's not only this report that Cesare was presenting regarding the impact. I think a year ago everybody was talking about the Draghi's report, and Draghi's report, yes. if you actually think about it, was about getting loads of cash to Europe, and we think that is very, very crucial. So So our AI action plan is fostering three things. Position AI as a hub of AI innovation. We have people, we have the gut, we have the drive. We can actually do it. Accelerate adoption across the economy. It was said by by Ivan, and not only economy but also the government as well, and invest in foundations of AI by also regulating it. And I cannot complement what Stepan said, and also Hendrik, regarding the role of SMEs and that SMEs are the backbone of our economy. So recently, we also managed to do a survey and a report for 11 countries. So we've managed to survey 3,259 companies, and 337 of them were from Croatia. So this is new. This was launched last week. You can also download it on our website. And the most crucial thing is that people need to be educated. There are staff shortages. And we actually want to adopt AI. We want to act. We have to act now. We have to act together. And also this initiative and the 3Cs initiative are very crucial to actually act together. We can do it. There are a lot of examples. The Nordic countries are doing this. We can do it. We can do it the same. We have to act together with the data, with skilling people, with the regulation as well. As it was said by Cesara and Hendrik, the AI Act is I don't know if anybody here read AI Act or the Code of Practice. It's unreadable. It's like spaghetti law. I'm sorry to say that. I'm a lawyer by training, but we need to fix it. And yeah.
Tamas, we will need to end because there are official proceedings.
Yes, I've seen that.
Thank you very much. I think this is so extremely interesting. We can continue for another hour. I reached -4 minutes.
Yeah.
Which is to really thank everybody here for being with us. Congratulations to my dear panelists. The topic is huge. I want to thank Dubrovnik Forum and Ministry of Foreign Affairs for organizing all of this, putting everything together. And it's important you mentioned the 3Cs initiative. Croatia is hosting the 3Cs initiative Business Summit next year, so we hope to continue to work on AI, digital issues, and many others. Thank you all.
This is AI-generated message. Your panel is terminated. Resistance is futile. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, great panel for the start. Please refresh yourselves. We have a grand opening at 10:30. That means that I would love to see you all at 10:25. So rush now for some first coffee break and refreshments. Thanks for joining us.